Mark in the count. The swing arm now coming back as our countdown continues.
The return of OzBrick. How's it going, folks? Welcome to the Brick Something News. Hope everyone's doing well on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. It's still beautiful over here anyways. How are things over there on your side of the country?
It's been getting a little dark, and we've been dealing with the last little bits of a hurricane that came up the coast a little bit. You know, just a lot of rain and clouds today, a little cooler weather, but that's actually my kind of favorite weather. So it was good for me. Maybe not so great for everybody else.
Well, you guys have hurricanes. We're kind of dealing with a little bit of like air stuff from the wildfires. Hope everyone's staying safe up in NorCal and Oregon. But anyway, I really can't complain when there's just ridiculous amounts of toys and toy news and toy geekery and nerd geekery and geeky nerdery going on. So I'm having a blast. Thank you so much for joining me today, Oz. As folks may or may not know, Oz was actually the first person to ever get me to jump onto a live stream. So you know, I have a special place in my heart for this guy.
Appreciate that, bro.
Absolutely. And I'm sure folks know you because, you know, when can they not find you streaming? This guy, and we'll talk about it at the end. What was it, 8 hours last night?
8 hours. I put in a full work day for a stream, basically. That happened last night. It was madness.
That's amazing.
Well, you know, that little secret that we all have, you know, after we go off live stream, most of the time we don't just disappear. A lot of times we hang out and talk. That talk went till about 6 in the morning.
Oh.
6 in the morning, East Coast time. So that's 3 a.m. for you guys.
So yesterday I jumped on. I said, yeah, I'll be on for 20 minutes. I did my classic brick thing, which is actually stay longer, but I wasn't too bad. It was about 40 minutes or so. So had I stayed on, what you're telling me is that I would have regretted it. So, well, cheers to you and the gang.
I'm here. Right.
Yeah. And he's fresh from a live stream with another Pinoy toy geek. He was just over on Mega J's. So this guy's all over the place.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go ahead and jump in the news. Actually, let me go and see who's here. I usually will wait after the first story.
To the chat.
Why don't you say this person's name?
Oh, everybody loves it when I talk about speaking moistly.
I often find it's good to speak moistly.
Right?
Moistly, it's a good time. How's it going, speaking moistly? Fanagan Collectibles, good to see you. Look who's actually early to a live stream. Will that be you? Yes, I think that's you, Abe Frumman, Sausage King of Chicago. Toy Mama with a brand new moniker. I love it. I love that name. Good to see you. Nolan, what's going on? Thank you so much for joining us. Allison Troy's in the house. Greetings all. Brick, Oz, Nolan. Cool, we got our names. We are not simply summer children or children of the revolution, which I appreciated yesterday.
Special.
Yes. Dar, how's it going? Good to see you. Hope everything's cosmic in your world. Thanos Copter is here as usual. Likely gonna like kick butt with the wrenches, but no pressure with the links. But I will actually try and do it as well. So if I remember, and if I don't, just give me a nudge. Thanos, like, hey, where's the link? Let's see who else is here. This a-hole is here. How's it going? And your homie, lifelong homie, I believe, Carol Geist. Good to see you.
K-Roll since birth.
Rich joining us from Facebook. Good to see you, Rich Bogey. Honor you, 83. That would be Yeah, this guy, and the answer is no. He is not.
Probably
You ever
not.
see Truman Show? Like, they predicted Oz is what it was.
It's what it was.
Yeah. Um, Absolutely. The rundown is this is filled with needless ephemera we saw. So it's not quite news. You're on the Brick Something channel. So it basically breaks down to BS news because some of this is going to be news-ish stuff. Some of it is just going to be really geeky stuff that we've been wanting to talk with someone about. So that's basically what we got going on. 1-6 shooter is here. Thank you so much for stopping in, Trevor. We're going to look at some of your work in a little bit. And I
True.
missed you by that much. Sorry, that's an old person joke. I think he was on your stream last night, got off, and then I think I came on a little bit after that.
Yep. He was there showing off the new beautiful. Well, we'll talk about it soon, so you have to wait, people.
Nate Wolf, thanks for joining. Ray Black, good to see you. Yes, get a bucket and a mop to start speaking moistly.
So moistly.
Who do we got going on? Danny Phillips. Hello, friend. I got to send some packages to Danny Phillip. I'm happy to be Danny Phillips' Motu connection from the States. Kayla Silva. Silver K, good to see you. And like a good captain, he understood that reference. Awesome. Oh, people
Sure
unite. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the news, Oz. The quick nerdy logistics, because I'm a pretty much gigantic nerd. What are we doing? Okay, so there's a QR code that you'll see popping up here every now and then. And that QR code, if you're so inclined, will take you to this link that's just going to show up at the bottom, which is bit.ly/bricksomethingnews. And that'll take you to a document that has everything that we've ever covered here on the Brick Something News. Tonight's stuff will show up later tonight. I've got some stuff to do right after this. But during the live, I'm going to try my best, or Thanos will try his best to kind of drop the links into the chat so you all can kind of follow along if you're watching live as we go. But, I just do this because I like to go back and look. And, I love like watching people's live streams or videos, but then I'm like, oh man, how do I get to that? I wish I could see that myself. And so that's my rationale for that. So anyways, blah, 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 blah. Let's go ahead and start with the stuff that we've seen, the ephemera. Let's take a look first, as I said, at some work by 1-6 shooter, fresh from his page. Look at that. It's like you knew this was coming. Figure Obscura, man. This weekend was all about the Figure Obscura.
Oh man. Making the announcement on Friday that this is going to be Figure Obscura weekend, all crap in our pants after we just heard earlier in the week that the Figure Obscura half of the retail exclusive wave is coming. And then they go ahead and they drop this guy on us.
Mask of the Red Death.
Nevermore.
Yes. Yeah, some Edgar Allan Poe. Sorry, I can't resist. The Simpsons has that in my head. Yeah, Edgar Allan Poe, man. We're getting stuff from Edgar Allan Poe. That was like, I don't know. I still remember this project that I did in high school. It was all about Gothic literature, and it was like acting out this. Anyway, I love this. This stuff is totally right up my alley. And I think, like you said, it's dropped on a Friday. The announcement came out on a Friday. And so there really wasn't too much time to guess. And honestly, I didn't even bother this time. I've actually, I've been super busy at work. I saw it. I was excited, but I was like, oh, if I go down this rabbit hole of guessing, I know I'm just going to be, either disappointed or whatever the next day, or I just kind of didn't want to get into it. So it was a nice surprise when I woke up at 6 a.m. my time, got on my phone and saw this, like the photo first. I was just like, what is that? I don't even care. I honestly didn't associate it automatically with Mask of the Red Desk. I just saw that thing's awesome. So
first second that I saw the picture, I just thought, oh, we're getting Death. And then I read Red Death. Like it took me a second to fully take in everything I was looking at.
Yeah.
And Mask of the Red Death and the nods that they have to Poe within the pictures and the work. I was just like, oh man, because again, I'm from Baltimore, so anything with Poe is big to me, and just like this really hit it home. Every time a figure obscura comes out, like it just means something personal to me. I've had like a personal, with the
That's
exception
right.
of the Krampus, everything has had a
Yeah.
personal meaning to me,
Oh my
and
God. Sorry, it
yeah,
just occurred to me. You had me go. I mentioned earlier that Oz was the first person to have me jump on a live stream, and that's because I was watching him unbox his Headless Horseman, and I was
yeah,
chatting in the chat saying, "Yeah, hey, cool, I'm gonna unbox mine while I listen to you." And he's like, "Come on," and the
yeah,
rest is
that was it. I
history.
said, join me, and you jumped
Oh,
on, and
that's
we unboxed
awesome.
our Horseman together,
Yeah,
and that
so figure obscure is like is an Oz thing, man.
it really is, man. It really is. And like I had some fun trying to speculate Friday night,
Hmm.
figuring out what this was, and we threw out a couple ideas and we were totally way off the mark. But the one thing I did pick up on and that Trevor confirmed was that their little clue picture with the hand pointing to the five was to say that this is the fifth figure in the line.
Right, right,
And
right.
you know, that was it's a really cool nod, like the little things that they put into it like that. Um,
So obviously the figure's amazing. The accessories are awesome. That, I mean, that's the thing with the figure obscura line that we don't necessarily get in Mythic
yes,
Legions or Cosmic Legions is these things come in a nice, gorgeous box and they come with some extra stuff. So
yes,
we're getting a clock here with a nice little Edgar Allan Poe nod with that raven up on top.
yeah.
Um, and the Roman numerals are, sorry, I'm teasing now.
That's a
Yeah.
personal joke to me because
Yeah.
I didn't. I've had
No.
clocks with Roman numerals that it have done the IV, and I was like, "Why did they get the 4?" And then I found out it is common on timepieces to have 4 eyes for number 4,
Not
and I was like, "Okay."
not that that makes any sense whatsoever, so you're
Right.
fine. But check
Yeah.
out this blood we've got going
I
on with this
love the
thing. I
blood.
love that. Yeah, it's just sort of pulling up and either, I'm assuming it's dragging back.
Right, and
Um,
it's got pegs. It's
yep,
got pegs in
right
it,
there
so it's a solid figure stand, or there are 4 pegs
for the clock.
for the
Yep,
clock.
yep, yep. And I'm just looking at these accessories, right? It's got the one bloody hand and then the one non-bloody hand. There's like four sets of hands, including the ones here. I
Yep.
just love this paint job going on over here with
Oh,
this.
man.
So
Sexy.
good. And I gotta say, like I've heard people say it, but I th- the soft goods on this thing are doing some heavy lifting. I mean, the figure, of course, is amazing. The accessories, everything. The mask itself is gorgeous, but this thing's fully robed, and yet it's like
Yeah,
one of the coolest looking figures, right? And that's not easy to say for head to toe robes, soft goods. Like that's the tailoring on that, the choice of materials, the wiring to kind of give you that sort of dynamic sculpted look. That's some great stuff. Again, by C. Jessam up in
right.
Canada. Again, got to shout out that Pst Noise because solid team. Here's the box.
The
Just
Nate
gorgeous
bar
stuff.
chart.
The best part, this is coming out when, Oz?
It's shipping. Like, they are printing labels, packing boxes. This thing is rolling now. We do not have to wait.
Yep.
And you know, probably by well, they said it's gonna take a couple of weeks for all the orders to ship, and I don't know what their process of shipping the orders is going to be. However, I mean, it is safe to assume that the earlier you ordered, probably the sooner yours will be, or it could be based off of number allotment because they had up to 4 single figures that you could order per customer.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you could also order 1 all in per customer.
Yep. Yep.
So, in actuality, you could get 5. Now, mind you, that was only for 24 hours. That was only through yesterday. Today, that limit is off. You can go buy as many of these guys as you want if you had not done any yet. Now, they can't combine shipping on separate orders, so sorry. but
Yeah, I went through that same thing. I played it safe. I actually there was a thought in my brain of like, ooh, I should get multiples. And I actually successfully talked myself off that ledge, but I lightweight regret it because of all the possibilities with this thing. But
I know, like, the more I kept seeing later throughout the day as you shared Dork Layer's review, I watched Jeremy
mhm.
Gerard go over it, on Facebook,
Yep.
and just, like, the different pop and swaps, and then Trevor, when he came on last night, he was nice enough to be able to show off the figure itself while we were live,
Yeah.
uh, so figure out scare oh god, now there's another hashtag. I got it, figure obscura. That's what I'm gonna start calling every time we get a figure obscura and we're doing an unboxing or a countdown like last night.
Yeah,
Um,
that's pretty nice.
but it was the more I have seen of this character, the more I like it and the more possibilities I see to it. I mean, again, even with him just being the Mask of the Red Death, I'm thinking a priest within the congregation of Necronominus, which we
Mhm.
all know is all in on that wave. Like, I want all of it, but
I mean,
so
the
good.
again, I was talking about the soft goods. I love that, like, look, this is, with some of the soft goods removed, right? So you can
Yes.
kind of see, again, just like different garments, different pieces are just super interesting and super well designed. So I totally appreciate the just the work that the soft goods on this thing are doing. And we're spending a lot of time on this story, but it's pretty amazing. And you just look at that, like,
Right?
such a cool look.
I
And
think
this
it's
thing is, oh, go
go
ahead.
for it.
Well,
Go
I was
for
just
it.
gonna say that this thing's a mask, and from what you
It's a
guys told me when
mess.
I jumped on, after Trevor left last night, that he showed you this, right? Why don't you explain to folks what's going on with this?
So what I love about this was actually the picture I used for my thumbnail because when Jeremy Gerard showed this off, that was the first I realized that that's not a head sculpt, it's a mask. The face underneath is a secret. So Trevor was real cool to show us the mask on its own without giving us the rest. Like, we cannot see the head sculpt. He did not let us see it. Good on you, Trevor, because it's nice to get these surprises. But that's again just one of those cool things with the figure obscura, as we're going to call it now, is that they always have these little surprises. Like with Krampus, in his basket, you had some surprises. Father Christmas, you had the
Mhm,
surprises of,
mhm.
what was in his sack. Um, they've done a really good job of just giving us little extras like that. So we still don't even know how awesome this could truly be
Yeah,
because we haven't
yeah.
seen what's underneath that mask yet. I mean, right now, clearly it looks like it's going to be a skull, but is it going to be like one of the more zombies? Is it going to be a unique zombie skull sculpt? We don't know yet, but it's still just going to be great. And this is
I
one of
am
my all-time
curious.
favorite shots.
And I'm super curious because, every time we get these new pieces in these lines, whether it's Mythic Legions, Cosmic Legions, Figure Obscura, my Lego brain, part of what I love these toys by Four Horsemen so much is that there's a built-in system. So I'm always kind of curious, like, how is that thing connected, right? What are we talking? Are
Right?
we talking face plates? Are we talking, is there a peg in there? Like, I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah. How are
So
we going to attach this to our next
yeah,
or any other figures?
yeah. And how is it attached to this? I'm curious when they say there's something underneath, but I also don't want to build it up because, like,
Hmm.
for all we know, it's a standard skull and they're
It's
painted
super
really
simple.
cool. But
It could be.
could
Yeah.
be. I mean, maybe not. I
Either
don't
way,
know.
it's still going to be
Yeah,
great no
because
matter
again,
what.
the next question is how does it connect if that's the case?
Right?
So anyway, we're nerding out, and great job, Trevor, on the photos. Great job everywhere at Four Horsemen. I've been saying this in the comments, like, I keep talking about the soft goods, right? But just everything from like the design of these things, the decision of which characters to do, the design of them, the sculpts of them are gorgeous. And then, as you and I know, because we do Legions class, head to toe paint jobs, mwah, like the way
Yes.
they're able to pull that off from figure to figure amongst, like, however many figures are produced in a factory. And then they added, like, they got Trevor on board to like officially be a photographer, and they're constantly getting great shots of these things. And then they're
Right?
like, well, we want to move into soft goods. Let's get C. Jessamine. It's just like they're running on like I was about to use a car analogy, and I'm not a car person. But anyways, that's all fancy talk for saying it's good shit. Let's move on.
It's
So
really good shit.
you
Now, moving
can
on to next cool shit.
yes, and as you pointed out, you can order it here from Store Horseman. It is still on sale. The all-ins, which came with like a lot of these things.
Two
Oh no,
mugs, the
yeah,
pin.
these guys. Yeah. So
It's
these are
sold
all sold
out.
out now.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
it was pretty cool last night because it actually it sold
brought
out
back.
in the morning in
Yep.
like 8 minutes, less than 8 minutes.
Yep.
Then when they did the relaunch later, it sold out while we were streaming, and I was like, "Oh, it's gone." And then we refreshed later, and all ins were back on the table.
Yeah, I wonder what
So, like
that's
they
about.
had them back in again. So it was still really cool. But single figures are still available, all the pieces are still available, and really even if you didn't get a chance to order it all in, you can actually still just order all the parts, and it's only going to cost you about $5 more. So if you're
I
liking
totally
everything,
I totally lied. This is not the end of it because I just realized. Let me show you what this thing looks like
right
underneath.
without the soft goods, there's some
Yeah.
new tooling here, some
Yeah.
reused tooling.
Yeah. Gorgeous stuff, man. Gorgeous stuff, head to toe. And check out the Dork Lair review because the Bill does some awesome stuff. He's like just always doing some great pop and swaps in general, but he makes it a point to take these figure obscura through their paces and kind of show us how their pieces would mix with mythic legions and cosmic legions. And there's some really cool stuff that he did there. Consider that a tease, and let's go ahead and move on to the next thing because there has been some news-ish stuff. In fact, there was a big thing over on the bigger side of toys, which is over in Hasbro. They had their Hasbro PulseCon on Friday.
Yeah, just a little something you may have heard of.
Yeah, totally. Although I'll admit that I was a little bit more intrigued by that figure obscura, but that's okay. Because I actually was able to sort of watch this, and I love, even though I don't collect a whole lot of Hasbro, I'm looking around at what I might have. I have like a couple random legends here, and but the reason I wanted to show this, and the reason I even put Ripper and Buzzer on the thumbnail, as I mentioned to you, is like, look at these head sculpts. As you and I are both Masters of the Universe fans. As you know, I am like ridiculously into Masterverse heads and also ridiculously picky.
Yes.
So I'm one of those persons who will pay for a custom head that's actually more expensive than the Masterverse figure because I'm like, nah, this character needs to, I need to do it justice. You know, like my He-Man needs to look a little better. My She-Ra needs to look a little better, whatever it is, my Skeletor. So I will tell you, man, every time I see G.I. Joe in particular, like this is not the case for all Hasbro lines, but G.I. Joe Classified, every time I see this line as an outsider who does not collect them is just like constantly impressed, especially by the head sculpts. I look at these and like all 5 of them are great. I would argue that like 3 of them are just like amazing. And what's great about what Joe Classified does is, you know, you'll see these characters with like the goggles or the I guess the welding goggles. This guy has glasses usually, right?
Yeah, it's like more like a
like,
visor almost, but yeah.
Yeah. But they're like, yeah, you know, I think we have the capability to do great human faces. Why don't we show them what they look like underneath? And man, I'm just jealous is what it is. Like, I wish Mattel could kind of pull off the sculpting work. Not so much the deco. I'm personally not super crazy about the sort of like jet spray kind of like, what do they call that stuff? I don't know if you know, but like that they call it like a real technology or whatever, where it's like it's basically like inkjet printed. Like, you know, instead of being like strong like application of paint, if you zoom in, you see it's made up of a dot matrix kind of pattern.
Yes.
It softens it for me, and I'm one of those nerds who like notices it from my like old school print graphic design work. I'm like, oh yeah, that looks a little different when I see like these solid blocks of camo paint, and then I get to the face and there's a little bit of a moire kind of going on. But that's just me. Anyway, what do you think of these? And am I overly dramatic when it comes to the heads of GI Joe classifieds?
I've been saying it a couple times this weekend. I've said it for a while. I'm not the biggest GI Joe collector. I
Mhm.
mean, I have limited knowledge. I
Mhm.
wasn't all into it when I was a kid. I used to enjoy playing with them. That's no lie. I only had a handful, but some of my friends actually had decent sized collections, so I did get some time to play with these toys.
Yep.
And this one, Dreadnoks were my favorite sub team from GI Joe. And I just absolutely could not get enough of seeing both Ripper and Buzzer being released here. And you can remove the glasses. Like, it's always a trademark of the Dreadnought. They got,
Mhm.
glasses on,
Mhm.
cover the eyes and everything like that. And they were like, we're gonna make it so you can remove the glasses.
Yep.
And that's phenomenal to me. And it helps make these guys look so much crisper. Now, the only thing that I will say as far as an overall sculpt, and it's specifically on Buzzer,
Mm.
and I talked about this a little bit with Aaron and Tony Romo on Friday night on Toy Therapy, the butterfly joints.
Oh, the
So
sleeves, these parts?
I did not care for the sculpted sleeves being the butterfly joints. To me, it breaks the sculpt a little and it looks weird.
Huh.
I wish they had just done maybe the sculpt detail where, the original shoulder joint is, not where the butterfly joint goes.
Instead of the sort of torn shirt thing?
Right. Like if
That's
they were going to
cool.
do the torn shirt, they should have added it to the actual, full shirt itself, not the butterfly joint. In my opinion, that's just me.
Sure.
To
And I
me, it,
appreciate that. You know why? Because I'm sitting here being all weird and anal about the head, and I was like, it's good to know that other people are weird and anal about other things too, in this
yeah,
case.
man, why not?
Yeah, no, I hear you. Like I see that. Not necessarily something that bothers me at all, but yeah, we get
Sure.
particular, right? I mean, yeah. I I don't know.
That being said, it's still a phenomenal, gorgeous figure. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, these things are awesome. These things remind me so much of AWOC in terms of like I was so happy to play with AWOC and enjoy those sculpts, and because it reminded me of playing with my brother has a big Joe Classified collection, and I love the way these classified figures move. Um, and I think they generally look really good, and they've just gotten better. So, man, that's all. I wanted to talk about the heads and show some Hasbro love because I think they're doing some good stuff, and I want to throw a little shade towards Mattel because step it up, man. I mean, if you step them up,
You
I
guys
might,
can do better.
yeah. Speaking of doing better, Jesus, Mezco, like what? Come on now.
Right.
Mezco did their RumbleCon this week, and me and Berserk last week kind of teased it, and all we had were the teasers. And then they dropped this stuff early in the week, and this was one of the first things that was like, what? They're
Yeah.
doing this massive rumbler, right? This combat truck SUV thing, armored vehicle thing, filled with lights and the whole nine.
If you're doing an armored SUV, this
Mhm.
is how you do it.
This
Mezco
is how
killed
you
it.
do it. Yep,
Thank
totally.
you.
Like,
I appreciate that reference.
uh-huh. I love this stuff, man. And we were talking last night on your stream about how like, I kind of like weird stuff. I was showing you the Super 7 worst figures. And to me, like Mezco and Super 7 are similar to me in that my favorite stuff that both companies do are the ones like their own IP, right? Where it seems
Yeah.
like the artists at Mezco and at Super 7 are just having a blast coming up with like the coolest characters, the coolest concepts, not really, having to be tied by somebody else's IP and licensor approvals. They're just like, hey, let's just be creative. Let's create our own thing. And I've only got one Mezco in my collection, and that's a Mosquatch, mainly because of scale. I thought maybe I could get a Gomez because he's a small bug dude, but um, so I don't have a whole lot, but I've just admired them from afar, and I've handled them, and I think they're really great figures. But what I do know of them is just the level of detail and artistry is like right up there. You and I are big into Legions. To me, that's Mezco's right up there in terms of like the attention to detail, the painting, the design, the sculpt, the soft goods. Talk about soft goods, man. Their stuff is amazing. So to think that they're like, hey, let's do a giant vehicle that will likely be able to fit your Joe Classifieds and other
Yeah.
comparable military action 6-inch figures. It's pretty cool. Pretty damn
Agreed.
cool.
I think it's really, really awesome to see this. And, again, not being a very big military toy guy, I can
Mhm.
appreciate all the look and the detail that they've included with this. It's going to be a nice buy for those that can go for it. And again,
So
Mezco just wins.
yeah, they do. And so like the question is though, how much is this stuff gonna be? So like Nolan's saying, like, yeah, I don't know how much I want to know. Fair enough. I will say, and we'll take a look at it in a little bit, but they've just recently released a vehicle with a figure, that awesome mech, and that was $350.
Right.
So, I don't know. I would assume that the engineering on something like that's a little bit more complex because you're dealing with joints and trying to get the thing to stand up. So I would personally be surprised if it was a little more expensive, but who knows? Yeah, who knows what they'll end up doing. And yeah, Mega J, like, look at that vehicle. They did not say how much it's going to be. So we'll see. Ray's guessing about $400. Skyfall, great to see you. Thanks for joining us. But this
Right.
wasn't the only vehicle, man. Like, the very last thing that they revealed was this, and it's a smaller
This
vehicle,
is
but
just cool.
I don't know what it is again. I don't know if they're just sort of like, yeah, let's get into this whole 112 vehicle game. Because
Hey, that'll look nice with that one NECA Terminator figure I have. I'm just saying.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's some other great bikes out there. One of my favorite ones is still the Punisher one.
Yeah.
Um, but like this thing looks great. Again, I don't know what it'll cost. If they're smart, they'll price these things pretty competitively. Like we know their figures aren't cheap.
Right.
But if they kind of want to make a splash right now, which I don't know that they necessarily need to based on their sort of way of doing business. But I don't know. I think it's a good time to kind of put out vehicles and things like this for
In this
112.
scale. Right.
Yeah,
It's
based on
definitely a
the
good
current landscape.
call.
Mhm. Especially if you can, work that price, because, we've seen Thunder Tanks, right? We're seeing Turtle Vans, and so that's on the bigger end. The more and more people
Mhm.
sort of work in a nice, more comfortable spot, maybe a couple $100. I don't know,
Right.
and I know I'm specifically for this thing. I really don't hope. I hope this thing is not more than like I guess with a figure. I'm hoping no more than 200. I'm hoping actually lower than that, but who knows?
I'd
Like the
really hope for
Gomez.
lower.
Yeah, and it's not like the Gomez is gonna take anything. It's just the same head, same body. It's the soft goods, right?
Right.
But I don't know. Again, if they want to broaden and maybe get more attention from other people who don't necessarily Mezco much, that's a play. But it's either way, it's cool, man. They're entering the conversation, right? With like Engines of Vengeance not kind of working out, and then Ramen Toy doing their version.
Mhm.
Um, it's an interesting space, and Valaverse kind of doing their car. I don't know. It's an interesting time we're in. So cool bike. Um, there was this too, which is more of a tease, and
Mhm.
Rumble Society, man. Again, I love, love, love their own IP stuff, right? I just everything that they're doing with these things. And it's a tease. It's like, crustacean, crab, one-armed Ahab looking dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think their Nemo is Rumble Society. I think he is sort of a different sort of subline, maybe. But it
Mm.
would be kind of cool to still see him go up against whoever this guy is. And
Right.
look at that,
Whoever
man.
it's going to be.
Cable
I'm
stitching
thinking,
at that scale.
right? Like, who does this?
Yeah, it's cool stuff. And you and I have said it all the time. Like, it's such a good time to be a toy collector. There's so many
It
cool different
is.
options.
It really is. But that's like
Yeah,
some hot toy level stitching on this
at
figure.
a much smaller scale.
Yeah,
It's
which
wild.
is madness, but it's so good to see.
Curious if folks in the chat are big into Mezco. Kind of curious to see who's into it, who's collecting. So anyway, good to see folks, and thank you so much for joining us. Let us continue. We're looking at that thing that I mentioned earlier. So this thing dropped, right? This was their first, not first, but their most recent kind of like uh, shot, I guess, in the sort of 112 space for like vehicles and mechs. This thing is now getting into, people dropping into people's shelves. We're seeing
Yeah.
reviews. And it's amazing. Like, the second I saw this, I will tell you right now, this is one that I regret not jumping in on. I really wish I had tried. I told myself, yeah, no, I really want it. But then I was like, sometimes going for mezcos, I've just heard nothing but horror stories, and I didn't kind of need that stress in my life. But now that
Right.
I'm seeing them,
Well, I try to figure out where it fits within the collection. What kind of display patterns can I have with it, kind of thing, especially when you're looking at something that could be different from what I already have.
mm-hmm.
How can I work it in? At the time, I didn't really see a way for me to really work this in. Now that Cosmix is launched, I'm like, son of a, like there is totally a way to
Sure.
work this in now.
Yep.
And it's just phenomenal with the LED lights and everything else within it.
Yep.
Like, this is just, and I'm a sucker. Like, I love critters and I
Yep.
love mech robot suits, Gundams, that kind of stuff. Like, and again, I like robot suits. I'm not going to say like Transformers necessarily, but even last night when you were having the worst, that thing was just cool and fun. It was a little robot dude. I could dig that,
Oh,
you
amazing.
know? So all the detail here, again, the
Yeah.
LED lighting,
Look at that.
and oh man, this just it ticks off so many boxes of what makes a cool toy.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are noticing. A lot of people who don't necessarily Mezco saw this thing, and that's why I kind of bring up, it'd be smart of them to price that truck, that Rumbler, in a particular way so that
Mhm.
it's a little bit more accessible to people, and that motorcycle, because I think they
Right.
will get a lot of attention from people that haven't done Mezco prior. Look at this
Yeah.
thing, man! Just and people will get a sense of like the quality of their toys and what goes into them. This
Yeah, I
full
mean, you
on regret right now, just so you know, like, not fear of missing out. Like, I missed out.
not
So
FOMO,
that's where I'm
just
at.
regret.
And you know why else? I, as a kid, was a giant Mork from Mork fan. And the fact that they did this like
I
homage to Mork
know.
was
I'm
is
glad you recognized it too, because that's what I
yes.
was looking at with it. And I was like, I love this. Most people will think of it as some kind of Sentai pilot type thing or,
No, man.
some kind of Voltron suit, but it's the exact shape, color for more.
Yep. No, totally, man. Like, yeah, no, Nanu Nanu, all of that stuff,
That's
man.
right.
I loved it. Just, and then again, impeccable soft goods, man. The suit on that thing is so cool.
Right?
Um, okay, so just to kind of keep it going, as I said, like, I'm not making this stuff up. There are people who are buying these things that aren't necessarily just putting their Mezco
Yeah.
toys in them. You mentioned Cosmic Legions, and there's Yuri right there with this
Prime
cool mech.
example.
Yep, just it fits perfectly, as far as fits in stylistically perfectly,
Right.
but not quite. I don't know, actually. Let me. Oh, sorry. Missing out is I'm missing out. Look at that thing. This
I
is the
know.
Marvel Comics goodness of my childhood, right? I wasn't quite there for the 35-cent cover price. I jumped in at 68 cents. That quickly went up to 75 cents. But man, that right there is some. You can tell, like, the people making these are like into the same crap that I am and was, and
There's
I
passion
skipped it.
behind it.
That was a spoiler, but go ahead. No.
Again, there's just passion behind this.
Yep.
Like, these are products that they clearly care about, that they put their labor of love into.
Yep.
And again, they don't know whether it's going to work or not, whether it's going to sell or not. But once you start getting into that point where you're putting it into production, you've really got to hope it sells, and that there are people out there who are going to be as passionate about this as you are, because this isn't some diehard nostalgia driven
Yeah.
purchase.
Bummer, because the one I was going to show, there was another person who was putting their G.I. Joe classifieds in it, and there's like a Lady J in it. So, like, they work, they fit,
Right,
and
it's proper scale.
I hope that's the case with the Rumbler. And as far as them selling out and wondering if they're going to sell, like, pretty much with Mezco, it's kind of they'll always sell out. They always do. There's always a wait list. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of like, will they reach new audiences and new people and potentially up
Right.
their quantities. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
'cause they don't do necessarily made to order, but
Mhm.
for the quantities that they put out, it's a sellout.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, as Jay points out, like, I wish I could collect Mezco, but their surprise pre-orders is like a lottery.
It's
It totally
tough.
is, and it's hard to jump in. There's that stress, but John, thank you very much for making me feel not super old. Nanu friend. And
We're
yes,
on it with your brick. We're all that age here.
Cool. I hear you, Ray, man.
Yeah. And then I totally get it.
This is one of those things where I would have like just bit it and like whatever.
Does anybody out there have one that they'd be willing to trade to Brick for a Galactus? I'm just gonna put it out there. I know he's got one hanging around, folks. So if somebody has one hanging on, I think I don't want to put words in Brick's mouth.
You did though, but that's all right. You know, I'd consider. Yeah. Stupider things have happened. Speaking of stupid good things, friend, I know you and I. Yep. Say it.
We have been waiting to see what more to expect out of the beautiful Creative Beast Studios.
Yeah.
And I got a chance to meet, it was actually, we were walking back to Emerald Knight Photos hotel room at PowerCon, and there was this guy walking up on us, and I noticed he had a McFarlane box in his hand. So I was asking him like about getting this McFarlane box. He was the one that chimed us in that they were doing all the free stuff. Yep. Turns out it's Chaos from Creative Beast Studios.
Mm-hmm.
So got a chance to talk with him about this, and I was like, I need to know how big these dragons are. And he wouldn't, he's a good man, he wouldn't give too much information. And then he was like, but I can tell you that we had that 5-foot T-Rex. So, and when he says 5 foot, we're talking lengthwise. So we're talking a T-Rex that's it's a little bit shorter than my arm span from
longer than my child. Yes.
Yeah. So like, these guys are big, as you can see, but they scale well with what you have. And Brick, you and I have been looking at like that Tundra dragon for months now, drooling. And then this showed up the other day, and the first thing I did was immediately I was like, send a Brick.
Yep.
Because this is our second dragon.
Yep, much appreciated. And you can kind of see the articulation. So this thing will be able to hopefully, like, spread back a little bit. I could see this thing getting all real low, standing up high and alert. Yes. Like the wings are a little scary. I know that's something that people point out all the time. Even, just the shelf space and everything. And I'm with you. I'm probably not the smartest when it comes to that. But speaking of, but these things are just gorgeous. And that, I'm reminded of some of the toys that I was lucky enough, my brother and I were lucky enough to have as a kid. And, those Kenner figures had play sets, right? The Death Star, even the Millennium
Mhm.
Falcon was a big toy. And when I was little, my brother's 5 years older, he had Shogun Warriors, he had Mazinger, he had Raideen, he had Godzilla and Rodan, which is not technically Shogun Warriors, but that Rodan wingspan was like huge. So
Yeah.
they're not unprecedented, and there was a time,
Yeah.
when kids' toys, I mean, your average action figure was 12 inches tall. So I know it's very different. Things are a lot more expensive, but I don't know. There's for whatever reason in my brain, there's room for these giant, cool-looking things. Even if it means that something stay in boxes and then get rotated out for display. But dang, this thing's cool. And I don't even know what's up with this. This was just sort of like included at the end. But these are some of their little raptors. So this thing looks more like a statue. But I'm maybe for color ideas, like
I'm
paint.
thinking that's what it was. Like, this
Yeah.
is kind of
Yeah.
because it's definitely not the same dragon.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm hoping this is kind of a tease of this is like the paint app we're looking for, which is kind of like a very iguana style color and pattern with it. And
Yeah.
I
Whew.
think that's what they're going to be going for with this guy. But like I just can't get over how like everything Creative Beast Studios is doing is huge for me because again, I'm all about the critters.
Yeah.
And this is just right there with that. Now they're getting into dragons, which is like one of my favorite fantasy creatures ever.
Yep.
And this will be a good stand-in until I can hopefully one day see a 4 horseman full dragon.
Yeah. I don't know how long this one is, but this looks to me more than 12 inches long with that tail. If again I go back to
it's
Boba
definitely going to
for
be
scale.
somewhere like 2.5 to 3 feet with tail.
So
Because you figure if you fully
actually,
extend neck and head, that's probably about 6 inches itself.
this is actually a TVC, yeah? That's not Black
Is
Series.
that
So
vintage? I thought it was Black Series. I thought that was 6-inch.
I'm looking at it.
Go
I'm
back to the
pretty
picture
sure
with the
that wait,
guys in it. Nah,
the
go
guy's
back.
hand?
Yeah, with the guy's hand. Because your average 6-inch figure,
Yeah.
that's
So that
bigger than
Boba
a
Fett would have fit in this
TVC.
guy's hand. You think? Either
Yeah.
way, I guess the answer is huge.
Yeah, it's big either way. It's
There you go.
certainly
Duh.
4-inch. Okay, so yeah, there we go. Yeah,
See, I
that's
got to
it then.
remember, words are to be read, as highly articulated likes to remind me.
Well, we're from the U.S. Reading's not always our strong suit.
That's what I said. Says the public
Pretty
school teacher.
pictures.
Absolutely beautiful sculpt work. I don't know if you're kidding, friend, but there is one coming from D20. And it's gorgeous. I covered it last week with Berserk. There have been some updates that I don't think I've covered. Maybe if we can fit it in, we'll see. But this thing is amazing. It's funny. We were just sort of talking about on AWOC Talk. We were talking about the potential of steeds and how oh God, that's a lot of shelf space. But then both he and I proceed to talk about the horses and moose that we have in our collection. And I've got the boar. And so it's kind of like, I mean, the heart will make room. So
right.
Here's a
You
little
will
bit
do
more.
what you have to.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we will. We'll fit it in, right? I just wanted to show this. This is from Creative Beast Studio. This is them painting for their it says Cyberzoic, so I guess it is part of their Cyberzoic line, although I know they're doing sort of a mammal. It's not Beasts of the Mesozoic, but it's Beasts of the other time period.
Right.
But apparently these are from Cyberzoic, and I just
that's their Dino Rider line.
Yeah. And so they've got mammals up in that thing, these saber-toothed cats, and just cool to sort of see the painting process. Just respect, man. Such good work. But look at the sculpt too, and where that thing's going to be articulated.
And that's one of the best things about their stuff too is that with all that articulation, it doesn't break the sculpt. Because we've seen with other um, dinosaur lines that you try to add in too much articulation or this or that, and it really breaks up the sculpt. But
Mm-hmm.
these guys just they make it work.
Yep. I still have some Beasts of the Mesozoic that I haven't opened, so I got to get to that soon. I've got a raptor, but
Dude, I'm just gonna
anyways.
say I know this really awesome channel that does this hangout and unboxing thing on Saturdays.
Yeah, but it's not like I'm not unboxing anything over there. I'm
That's
just
true. That's true.
behind. Oh, here
You
you
are.
go. I just put things out of order. So
There it is.
rewind real quick. And yeah, there's that Mezco with G.I. Joe Classified. Just to
Now this
we'll
makes
just
me want to see like some kind of better version of that snake armor from the old vintage line. I mean, I
I love
know
that.
Super 7's doing the ultimate versions of the Cobra armor, but
Yeah, if they do that
let's
snake
see how
armor, I
fast
hope
it
they
goes.
I hope they stay true to the original design. Those things were so
Want
beautifully
something like
clunky.
this. Yeah, but I want something like this though.
Sure. I see that. All right, moving back. This is something that you shared with me that I was so happy when you showed me these. What's the deal with Morphonauts?
So first off, I fell in love with the name. I first saw this shared on, and now I can't even remember whose channel it was posted. And the first thing I saw is another line of toys that you and I have both spoken about that we both appreciate, Battle Beasts.
Uh-huh.
And so I was
Dun,
like,
dun,
oh, wow, these are really cool. Are these a
dun.
custom? What are these? I thought maybe somebody was just 3D printing, doing some custom figs, whatever. And then I went and I started following the trail, and it
Mhm.
led me back to Morphonauts, which
Yep.
apparently have been around for a while, flying under the radar.
Mhm.
They've got several different things, as you saw, like they had like a Ninja Turtle kind of esque line going,
Yes.
and they print in different scales because you see here, this is scaled with 6-inch, just absolutely fine. The combat creatures
Yes.
are done in 2 scales as well. They had some smaller ones, as you pointed out to me, Brick.
Yep.
Um, so we get like 2 different scales with this, which is great because again, with Battle Beasts, they were a smaller line.
Yep.
So, like, if you get the smaller scale version, it kind of makes them look like they did back when,
Yep.
compared to your other toys. Or if you want them to be more uniform, you buy the larger scale and put it in with the rest of your collection.
Yep.
But these guys hit a certain, mark with me because again, Battle Beasts were a fun, cool line. They had their different weapons, their different factions, their different elements. And it's neat to see somebody finally, because again, we're living in an age of nostalgia, love. And so to see these, there are certain companies that are just, they're putting stuff out and they're sitting on other stuff. And it
Mhm.
could be because they're scared and they don't want to take a chance or whatever, but spread that love. And I'm glad when I see a third party of some type, like Morphonauts, pick up that
Yep.
torch and start carrying it, bringing us something like Ace from Ramen Toy. He comes in and he helps, facilitate these kind of things. And this is where we see Morphonauts. They are picking up this torch. They are going to give us some battle beasts. And like I said, that's not all these guys are doing. They've got
Nope.
a lot of really great stuff going on. But again, look at the detailing, look at the sculpts. And like some of these are prints, like they are already manufactured. These are not just digital renders anymore.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know what their deal is because it does say that they're going to do this Kickstarter. They posted this
Hmm.
last week. And so I
Hmm.
don't know if the Kickstarter is going to be for like what scale because it doesn't say.
No, it
Um,
didn't. And that
it's
kind of
multiple
disappointed me.
hands, all of these things. So we'll see.
At
But
31
either
points of articulation, I imagine it's
that
got
was
to be
Wade's.
kind of larger.
No, that was Wade's first question. Very dope. What's the scale? Yeah, no, totally. That's
He's smart.
because I'd love to see these. on my shelf too in sort of larger scale. And I'd hope that if they scaled them up, they'd have a little bit more detail than what's here in the renders. But you know, I know a lot of people who are jonesing for some Battle Beasts. So I think that'd be really cool. Here's it printed in 118. And you can
Right.
kind of see what these things look like. So we'll have to wait and see and follow. Classic Battle Beast paints.
Yep.
Paint scheme, color scheme. Here's the larger 6-inch print, and you can see like some of the details lost because again they're scaling it up. But from what I assume was designed for, the smaller
for
fig.
118, right?
Yeah.
The shorter size, but I mean, again, they are just really, really cool. They're paying complete homage to the original source of, you know, what we had as kids, and it's again, they're making sure that they get that little bit of nostalgia factor for everybody.
Yep. And I do like the weapons on these, as Danny's pointing out. They're just fun fantasy stuff, you know, and
I've made
the armor's
comments
cool.
I've made some comments about recently some blades strapped to your wrist is always just a really bad idea, but it does look cool. But yeah, it's just a bad idea.
Yeah, I used to do Kali and Eskrima, and you know, we do bladed weapons, and the instructor would always tell us, like, listen, like, don't let Hollywood fool you. Anytime you pull a blade into it, even if you're using it, you're gonna get cut. It doesn't matter. You're gonna get cut. But the true practitioner is and what determines your skill is, will you get cut less than your opponent?
The other
So
guy.
yeah. So anyway, these are pretty cool, you know, sort of seeing these things that are right there with Blight.
It's AWOC.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting. I will be watching your career closely. Oh, speaking of,
Do it.
I look at this cool, weird custom stormtrooper figure that someone made. It's a weird choice to kind of mix it in with like this weird face thing, but I think it's a pretty cool looking design. Like,
Right?
I'm gonna leave it at that. I think it's kind of creepy, and it's like they took like a Roman like soldier kind of lost legion kind of thing and
It
shoved it
kinda
in with a
reminds me-
stormtrooper.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of what did they call them in 300? Black Legion?
Oh, I don't remember.
Xerxes
I think I only saw that once
foot
or
soldiers.
Okay.
Or his elite foot soldiers, rather.
And that wouldn't
where-
even been. Was that 300 or was it its
It
sequel?
was 300 with the
Xerxes?
Persian
Okay.
masks.
Okay, he was in the first one. Okay.
Yeah, it was all from the original comic.
Yeah, and it totally looks like one of the guards from the 80s, Flash Gordon. It absolutely does. And they were called so maybe that's what this person was going for. I think the Immortals is what they're called, says
Immortals,
Skyfall.
thank you. Thank you,
says,
guys.
speaking moistly, says Nolan.
See, this is where anytime my brain has a fart, everybody else squeezes the shit out for me. So.
And thank you, Thanos. You're on it. You found it. You are fast. These are cool. It's a trip. Just don't read what's going on the right there, but just consider this a really weird custom, and I'll leave it at that. What an interesting concept. Imagine if Star Wars actually like worked something like that into canon. It'd be just so weird.
Yeah, like some kind of like honor guard or something. I don't know. It'd be different. That's for sure.
Anyways, that's enough of that. Enoch's enough. Let's move over to this, just because I know you love creatures. This is totally not at all an action figure design, but I have just sort of been intrigued by turtles. I'm looking for the version of Ninja Turtles on my shelf. I think I sort of did land on Fury Toy. Is it Fury Toys? It's not Fury Toys, but there is that sort of something available from 5K of the larger turtles that I have. But I saw this and I was like, ooh, like something more like that would kind of be fun too. So
yeah, he's definitely right up there in that really neat, cool aesthetic. You know, you can definitely see the the full real world realization of the animal within this anthropomorphic style, because like you look at the way the hand is and the way the feet are, like, okay, let's remember animals don't have you know, opposable thumbs, like so the idea of them gripping anything is cool, but like they've designed it in a way that it makes it work. They don't walk
Mhm.
bipedal on a feet like that, but we're going to find a way to make it work. So it's beautiful. It's the perfect mix of realistic and a fantasy.
Yeah, absolutely. Stars right on it. It totally looks like children's book fantasy done in adult style. And I
Yep.
think that's actually like
It's the
um
easiest way to say what I just said, and I
well,
appreciate you for simplifying it.
absolutely. And I think that kind of like gets at maybe what my one of my favorite aesthetics is and styles. Like I just love that approach, right? The children's book abstraction, the cartooniness, but done
Yeah.
with some photorealism. I'm intrigued by this. I've got turtles on the brain right now, but
As
I came
many
across
do.
this and was into. Yeah. And I think the other thing is like I just wanted to point out how like, we do the action figure thing and it's really cool to sort of just see artists on IG just
Yeah.
kind of like working the technology and coming up with these versions of characters and then being able to like have a venue for people to look at it. So I thought it was cool. It was something I thought that was cool that I saw and figured I'd share it with you. So
Yeah. I
that's
appreciate it,
all.
man, because you know I have a high appreciation for just art in general,
Yep,
and this is phenomenal.
100%. So I think that gets us to kind of the customs corner where we're going to kind of take a look at different custom action figures. And of course, it's hard not to look for customs and not find a Mythic Legions / Cosmic Legions figure. This is by Noble Bear Customs,
Noble Bear.
who, by the way, did an amazing job of sort of Wukong head before. And you see it
Oh,
in there.
yes.
Maybe before we got the Figure Obscura one. But I love this thing. This just screams of like perfect like anime kind of. It actually is. I don't know if it's from it, but it reminds me of some of the stuff that came out in the anime inspired Star Wars thing that came out recently. They're like in their
Okay.
second season. Um, love the eyes on this thing. The way they're
Yeah.
painted, very
Like,
cool.
well, it reminds me with a certain other project that has recently been going on with Ninja Scroll, like the
Ninja
old
Scroll.
man from Ninja Scroll right here.
Yep.
Like,
Yep. Yep.
you know, it's so neat to see. And it's got all of, you said it perfectly. It's got all that anime influence. It's
Yep.
using parts that exist and then adding some extras too to really drive it home.
Yep. Yeah, it's solid. And I just so much of what I'm liking about this sort of like toy renaissance, this time period is that again, people are getting access to the technology to kind of bring their ideas to life. So earlier we just saw someone
I love
kind
the
of
feet.
creating a 3D character, right? And just kind of capturing our attention. And then now people can print these things up and sell them as custom parts, right? Like these feet. And then others
Mm-hmm.
can paint them up. Of course, a lot of this stuff, as you said, is stock. Like this is Cosmic Legion's parts.
Yeah,
Some
it's
of
some
these are
tusk.
not. These are
Right.
custom van braces or whatever you call them,
Mhm.
gauntlets. Some stock Mythic Legions pauldrons, but
Yep.
all in all, you put it together, people show their artistry with the paint, and boom, there's that head. Just really
Oh,
cool looking,
wow.
such a unique head, like cranium, like totally looking like their brain is sticking through.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it really does. It's like grotesque in the most beautiful way.
mhm. I love this. It just sort of extends what can be done with these lines. So that's what I absolutely love in customs. To get away a little bit from Mythic Legions because we know we could spend so much time just looking at Mythic Legions customs, but
Yeah.
look at some Marvel Legends
Oh.
love, man. Look at this. I
Oh.
think some of this is actually Diamond Select too, but this is by One Out Customs. Just
many versions of the Fantastic Four. You got what, Future Foundation version. We've got the new Fantastic Four from the What If going on. This is really, really good.
How hot is
this,
this, right? And respect for the organization of your workspace there, buddy.
right?
But yeah.
I don't know what's more beautiful, the actual Fantastic Four or the fact that he's kept this so neat. Like, how is that cutting pad so clean?
Yep. Look at Franklin right there. What's Franklin's little sister's name? I forget.
Oh, I cannot remember her name because she came along after I was kind of out of reading most of.
When I was reading Franklin, he was a tiny kid too, so he was still hanging out with Power Pack. So, but I love this. The closest thing I have to these are like minifig versions of all these different sets of Fantastic Four Lego minifigs. But I love this, man. I love a good team, and I love when people kind of like really work on creating customs.
I love that he throws the baghead Spider-Man in because he wasn't even an official member. It was after Reed blasted the black suit off of him and he didn't have a costume to get home.
He had to get home. Yeah.
So they gave him, he didn't even have his web shooters. Yeah. They just gave him a freaking, here's an old Fantastic Four outfit. And Johnny was like, that's, the clothes are great, but I need something to cover my face.
Like they couldn't do some, you can do some Unstable Molecules mask.
Right.
But anyway, good stuff. 1-0 Customs. I love looking at, I love it, man. This is the stuff of my childhood. Let's move on. And of course, we're back to Mythic Legions, but
it's hard when we're talking customs because there's so many.
This is by Retrospect Customs. Just taking that horse that you love so much that came with your Headless Horseman. I'm assuming taking the head from a Shadow Equidron, and I don't know where the horn is from, but that thing is awesome. I love that it's ribbed, right? For your non-pleasure. The wings.
Yeah. It's so great.
You freeze? I think you froze. But yeah, this thing is epic. And you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay, I wasn't sure whether it was you or me that cut out. I'm assuming it was me.
Yeah, but this thing is hot. And again, the wings look really good on this thing. And I'm trying to think, did these the wings that came with
No, I don't think so. They don't. No, those are not.
They're not the wings that came with Alithia. No. I was thinking Alithia. Tuberculite we don't even have. Alithia, no, she has this whole other thing, and that's another figure I haven't unboxed yet. But whatever it is, those things look really good. I don't know the deal. I'm sure. Let's see. I'm sure if I just read, it might say.
We could try that for once.
Let's see. I mean, I just look at stuff and I geek out, and there's nothing here. But this thing is awesome. It's so cool to see like people really just like having fun with it. And it's like Mythic Legions. It always amazes me because I honestly would be scared to take a Dremel to one of my Mythic Legions or paint them. So I got to work up to that. Like I'm gonna start with like a $12 or not even less than $12 Jurassic Park dinosaur that I got from Burlington Coat Factory, and kind of work my way up
for that. Yeah, I've got a Battle Cat that I want to work on before I would ever touch a Legion's horse. And I feel kind of the same about the figures. Like I want to do some custom work painting on like, my little figure here, this guy. I want to take some paint app to this, but I want to test it out on doing maybe like some Origins custom work or, as a matter of fact, Adam's helped me out. Of course, that'll wait a little bit, but I bought a whole bunch of those little dollar store guys, the Final Faction. I'm gonna play around painting those guys up first. I'd much rather take some paint and practice some things before I get to the point where I'm trying to do anything like this with something as expensive and as beautiful already without me touching it.
Yep. And thank you for the assist there, folks. Valeria is Franklin's the youngest Richard's name.
Yes.
That's a great question. I don't know if they ever brought him into the comic. I remember him from the cartoon, though. Was that dope, fantastic car? Anyway, this thing, very cool. I know I've gotten way too many horses to reference that conversation that Adam and I had. I
I've only
realized
got
that.
the one, but I need a moose. And I was just on Mega J's channel saying that we don't need any of these, quoting our good friend Adam.
Yep.
And yet at the same point in time, I need a moose.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he's got
And
two. Adam's got two. So
you see, he understands.
well,
I've
yeah,
won
I
so
mean,
many.
I feel like it's it's
I've-
also a point of national pride for him too. So
It's got to be, you know. But I've got a bone horse coming on the way, so
yeah, and Thanos has got two horses, three on the way. I mean, that's where I'm at too. At a certain point, how are you going to collect a line by a company called Four Horsemen Studios that clearly wrote the equivalent of Four Horsemen into their mythos and like not get the horses? So that's where I'm at. Anyway, friend, as we sort of start to wind down, let's kind of feature something a little bit more, and this is kind of where I call the "That's What's Up" section, right? So this is the stuff that like I really think is extra special, cool. Just a little bit of extra something, something, and as you know, the name Brick Something exists because I'm a big Lego head. And so I need to feature a little bit more Lego. And this one was definitely one that deserves it. I don't know if you saw this
love
a
it.
couple of days ago.
I saw it in the Discord. Yeah,
Cody bricks, I think. Cody there's yeah. Anyways, Cody did this amazing thing. Mock, for those of you who are mainly in the action figure world, does not stand for mint on card. It stands for my own creation. It's when folks take their pieces of Lego and just go to town with it without needing instructions, right? They're just like straight up, I'm gonna make what I'm
like
gonna make.
master builders. Oh
This is
man,
my own creation. And so this person did a Star Wars Return of the Jedi using snot technique, stud knot on top. You can't even see any of the studs on this thing.
nope.
You can see a couple here where they probably need to stand for action,
Little,
but
little towards that port window in the back, but so little.
yep. And done in the style of the newer sort of adult display sets,
Yeah,
complete with a plaque on the front that reads, I am a Jedi, like my father before me. Where Luke
right.
Skywalker, famously offers his contribution to the Jedi way of life by tossing the saber, baby. I'm be on the tossing the saber forever because I think we are getting a strong reminder of that in a little show called Ahsoka right now. But this thing is fantastic. This is like not just on the Lego side of things, but in terms of like the play sets and diorama for like action figure people,
Yeah,
the design of it, the approach to how they're like what angles they're going to choose, what this person chose to show in terms of the walls, hinting at the space continuing beyond this is just really, really cool. Really great building techniques too. This sort of circular window stuff is always great. Yeah.
right. Just the amount of time it takes to even like, did he plan this or did he like just? I mean, I guess there's a certain amount of planning you kind of have to do going into a project like this because you're going to kind of have to know an idea of piece count, what kind of pieces you're going to need.
Yeah, exactly.
But
You're going to need your materials for sure.
yeah, and fortunately with Legos, unlike it's a shout out to my boy Skelly who's in the chat just coming off his weekly weirdo earlier, but like Mattel just ain't got the idea with giving us modularity. They haven't given us parts bins or a place where we could just order parts. Lego has made a phenomenal job at cataloging each and every individual brick that they make so that
Oh
when
yeah.
you do want to do something like this on your own,
Yep.
you can order direct from them the pieces you would need to fully assemble this. You don't have to go to the store and buy like 15 different sets of the same thing just to get the few pieces that you need over and over again from it. You can buy directly from them. So,
Well, you know what's even better on that note is so you can design all this stuff digitally. I didn't even take a look to see if this was real or not because some of them no, this is real. But you can design these things in Lego Designer, Digital Designer, and there's other versions of it.
okay.
And that gives you access to the parts library, and you just build and build and build, and then you can spit out instructions and a part count, and it'll do exactly what you're saying. It'll tell you exactly what parts you need, and then you can go to places like oh my god, it's been a while since I've been on the brick. Oh wow,
Yeah. See, I've got a bunch of the
what's it
like
called?
the my latest foray into Lego has been like the Minecraft Lego stuff with Connor.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And, like I've got a bunch of that set up over here right now. So I haven't done much of that yet. But now you got me thinking, Brick, and I'm about to be in trouble.
Be careful, tread lightly. Part of the reason I was able to transition back into action figures is because I experienced reverse sticker shock from having been a Lego collector and then going into buying figures. Is like, oh wow, these things are cheap
These things are
compared to
manageable.
Lego. Yeah, totally. But Codiano does amazing stuff, and this is just a tease
Yeah.
of the work that they've done. You can see here, like clearly big into Star Wars, done some other big
Hmm.
pieces. And let's see, the size is massive, 25 inches in length, 15 inches
Gosh.
deep, and 13 inches high. Yep, and it's all lit using Light My Bricks. And
Right.
Bricklink was the site that I feel like I need to turn in my Lego card because I forgot Bricklink. And actually, that's a good
But
sign because that means I haven't
Adam's
been
got you.
buying. Good. That just basically means that I haven't been buying, which is a good thing because obviously my money's been
You have been buying
going
Lego.
elsewhere. Yeah.
It's not that you have been buying. You just have been buying Lego.
Yes. And so Star, like that's right there, right? In terms of just like that's how beautiful this thing is. And I know it was probably a quick glance, but like this is super impressive. The fact that, you can build this thing and really just capture the look of, like, we all know this is the Emperor's throne room.
Yeah.
Just amazing. So yeah, and I hear you speaking moistly back in the day, just your own creation. Same with me. Like that's my thing. I love the only time that I've really spent like keeping models is what you're seeing here, the Star Wars stuff in particular. And usually there's something that I'm fiddling with because I'm not super 100% happy with them. So there's always little things that I tweak. So
Right.
well done, impressive, most impressive.
Impressive.
Yeah, LDG is a ton of fun. Bricklink, thank you. Yeah. So this thing is amazing, and I think there's one other thing that I wanted to show back to action figure stuff. This is old. This is like really old, but we want
And
more
it's still
Thundercats
so
posted
cool.
it. Yeah, we wanted more Thundercats posted it. Kind of like saying, "Hey, Super 7, what's next?" Like I
You did
commented on.
Cat Slayer.
Yeah, it's so true to like we want more Thundercats name and Steez. Every time something new's released, they're doing interviews with Brian saying, "Okay, so what are you doing next?" But
Yeah, enough. We've already seen that. Let's go on to the next thing you
yeah,
guys are working on.
but this thing is awesome, right? Plundar, like that. I just love the sculpt of it, and I would
I agree.
love to see this in plastic form one day. I'm not in a rush. I know people need to like get their Cat Slayer in, but Mumra Colecciones did this, and I think it's such an amazing custom. Always intrigued.
That
We have
is
Skelevator on here. This reminds me of like Skelevator's amazing Dio work, or not even Dio, like structural work, right? Creating Snake
right.
Mountain, like, and so I love these kinds of things. And I think it is an intriguing design, right? This kind of cool gargoyle thing mixed with a building in the back. He's got some sort of custom figs attached to it as well,
Sly
but
the Mutants, right.
so
That is
cool,
so
so
great.
iconic. Yeah, it's like Castle Grayskull. It's you've got like the centerpiece that you're focused in on. Eternia is the same way. That was always my issue with Snake Mountain. Snake Mountain's a little bit of a design mess, in my humble opinion. This reminds
Not
me
the
of the
way
Dragon
Skelly
War.
makes it.
Well, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
sure. I'm just saying, like, design-wise, when you're doing Snake Mountain, like, what am I supposed to focus in on? There's so much, right?
Okay, yeah, no, I see what you're
Yeah.
saying because
No,
like
I'm just
all the
saying
little details and that organicness of it, it's hard to focus in on one thing.
Well, if you think about like Castle Grayskull, it's the skeleton, it's the icon.
Yeah,
Boom, I
yeah.
get it. I read it quickly. Snake Mountain, you've got the snake head, but you've also got this other monster head. There's
Right.
a
You got the
wolf head on
snake
the
peak,
side.
demon
Yeah.
heads all over it, and
So,
just tons of really, really cool little details that
yeah.
I appreciate, but I get what you're saying. It makes it hard
Yeah.
to have a central focus.
Yeah. It's like
Where
competing ideas. So, but this thing definitely is just they know what you want. They want you to focus in on. And there's other things going on here, but because it's vertical, you've got this kind of nice clean line that you're looking at. And
right,
just a design note that nobody cares to listen to, because it's still just awesome. There's the original from the show.
right. The Plundar we're all used to.
And in video to get a sense of it. Again, this is old, but
Mhm. It's
I
still cool to look at.
this is perfect when someone was asking earlier, like, what is this show about? Like, is it really news? It's not news. It's olds, but it's new
It's
to me.
BS news.
And yeah, it's BS news. And I've been really into the idea of play sets and dios
Mhm.
lately, just the idea of creating environments, right? On my
Yes.
shelf. So part of this has been me researching and looking at what other people are doing and just cool ideas for like backdrops and pieces on the shelf to go along with the figures. Look at that.
That's what that's how I found Skelly in the first place.
Yep.
Was I was looking at custom play sets because I was getting ideas for display for how I wanted to do, my stuff. And looking through it, he had just posted a couple videos about his first Snake Mountain that was just completely incredible and amazing. And then he started working on his Fright Zone and seeing those different ideas. I could never, well, I don't want to say never, but the patience, the time he takes and the care he takes to make
Yeah.
just some amazing work. Like you see, he's
Yep.
saying here, Grayskull is all the
Yep.
bricks. It's right.
Yep. Yeah, totally.
So to do something like this is beyond my capabilities is where I am now, but like that's how you find this stuff. And
Mhm.
I mean, between me and Skelly, the rest is history. I started watching his streams, and then that's kind of what brought me here to this. And then our story, our little history that we talked about.
Yep.
It's
Yep. Yep.
just God, it's so incredible to see this kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I think people are right, man. Start small. You can do
Yeah.
it. And that's in my brain. It's like, that's why I'm looking at these like little, like if I just had maybe one of those claws on the shelf, like, as like a weird random statue or
Right.
something, and
Right.
just playing with them, man. It's, yeah. So, all right.
Welcome, brother.
Speaking of which, let's talk about you for a second as we close out. This was you last night. And we tease you sometimes because man, the record was 6, I think, a couple weekends ago. Last week it went over. I
So,
think you went to 6.5. And
yeah,
last
the
night you
last
went to
3
8 hours and 11 minutes and a nice little 45 seconds at the end there, sort of to top it all off. And what's great though, Oz, is that I love how you've just managed to get like a bunch of different folks on, right, to kind of meet one another. And then oftentimes, as you pointed out, Trevor was there to kind of show off the figure, which is really fun. So like if you're not familiar with what Oz is doing, and I don't think that's the case with the folks who are on right now, but
right.
it would, it's like it's a fun hangout and you never know what's going to pop up. There's a little bit of information that gets dropped, fun stuff that gets shared, figures get unboxed. We start talking about snack foods and
Oh my God, the crazy paths our conversations just go down. It
yep.
all starts similarly toy based, but
Yep.
then Adam can fill you in on what not to steal any kind of segment from Toy Anxiety, but apparently Ostradamus Toys is number one in Adam's got the list. I really want to ask him to make me ads. Thanks, Skelly. I appreciate it. It's a lot of fun, man. I've we're all adults. The world's stressful, and as much as we enjoy like toys, one of the best things about toys, in at least to me and to many others here, was not just having a collection for myself to look out brings me a little bit of joy.
Yep.
Being able to share that and play with my toys with my friends, which that's just how I feel the Saturday night hangout streams are, and that's why they are capable. Because like when you're a kid and you're playing with your buddies and you're having great fun with toys, and at the end of the day, you don't want to go home. You want to stay and you want to play more, and that's kind of how I feel like the Saturday night hangouts are. We enjoy sitting around talking about this thing we're all very passionate about. You can see Bud showing off a little bit of the custom work he's doing. Trevor is sharing with us this amazing figure that just got dropped. And my channel was lucky enough to have one of the first looks in hand last night because Trevor came on to share that with us. Joe showed off many other amazing customs that he's working on. Thanos is always unboxing some stuff and showing us whatever projects he's working on. Ed's hanging out, as his name says, drinking coffee and making miracles,
Yep. I want to go and show, like you mentioned, Joe's dope work. He was showing us this that he said he created right after Arakagor was announced, got these head sculpts, and just, it's a cool spot. Folks come through, hang out. It's really chill. It's fun to hang out. I was mentioning yesterday, like, I won't be on here for 20 minutes and then end up way too long because that's my classic thing. It's like I'm having too much fun. But it's exactly that. You're hanging out at a friend's house, like, oh, I gotta go, mom's gone. But so it was cool last night. Let's see, how many different people did you have? You had Bud on, Thanos, Joe. That was Joe's first time on your stream too, yeah?
Yeah. That was Joe and Trevor. It was both of their first times joining us last night. Of course, we had Thanos, Ed, Axion, and
Figs.
Yourself. You joined us for a while. We had Aaron, Payne's Toy Samples. If everybody was wondering who that raccoon image was that he's got for his fun display when he walks away.
Is that? Yeah. And then I think with Trevor, I think I missed Trevor by just a couple of minutes.
As
I was saying earlier. And then I think I jumped on at a certain point here. Oh, those heads that he won are awesome. There's me. And people are sharing things like that, like Thanos sharing the cool custom heads that he won from from Legion's Lounge as they were doing their their road to Legion's Con. They're having like different customizers and people who are going to be selling stuff at the con come on, and a bunch of them donate prizes. And Thanos won the draw, which is awesome, and we got to see that. I came in and shared that, what is it, the worst figure, just because
absolute worst
in the best way.
But as the night goes on, and you would think that things are going to wrap up and slow down, it always ends up picking up. As people leave, more people come in. Here we have Random Diorama joining us after I had won a giveaway on Helidope Toys. I've been showing off a lot of his work that he does.
That's right.
Because I have some in hand. So he was working on some projects last night, just hanging out. As the night goes on, we had KJ, or Black Genghis from Toy Kind of Mood, came in. We also had Tony Romo join us after a while as well. Here you see our very own amazing Cobweb Collector and Travis from Hexastack. Get stacked,
Mr.
folks.
Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful himself.
Aaron's showing us as many toys that need to be unboxed.
Right.
So you said KJ was here. I remember jumping on because I was editing while the family was watching Guardians of the Galaxy again. So we watched the whole movie, and I was editing. I jumped on, and y'all were still
going.
And then I was like, "Oh,
it just doesn't end."
KJ joined. There's Tony
Yeah,
jumping on here. So like, yeah, every Saturday night, almost every Saturday night, jump on Ostradamus Toys, and you'll never know who's going to jump on, including
that's right.
sometimes some sketchy things that have happened in the past. But we say we don't talk about it, but it always gets brought up.
Oh, we bring it up all the time. It happens.
Look at this guy in
It's got to
this
be a running joke.
awesome shirt there. Look at that.
Right.
Appreciate the color. Highly
Exactly.
articulated.
Yep. Towards the end of the night, Highly Articulated jumped in and joined us as well, Adam. It's always fun having you come on. Then we had Allison eventually jumped in a little bit later than that, and even Kayla kind of come on at the end. Because again, you just never know who is going to appear in my streams. We've had, Skelly's jumped in and hung out with us on a Saturday night that he's free. Bobby's jumped on. So, my co-hosts and friends from the Toy Frenzy love to come on and jump on when they have the availability. And it's great to spend more time with them, as well as just Ken from Toy Connections may show up. Mega J may show up. You just really have no idea who is going to be on Ostradamus Toys Live next. I mean, it's pretty much almost a guarantee that I'll be there. But at this point in time, I don't know. Heck, Thanos or Aaron could probably hijack my channel and start running things on a Saturday night. I wasn't there.
If you like gut health, Prince, and chocolate chip cookies, you're going to love Ostradamus. Did I miss a conversation about Prince? Because
there was some Prince talk later. Well, you mentioned the cool shirt he was wearing earlier.
Well, that's what I was going to say. There was a costume change.
Yeah, Adam does costume changes. It's great.
I have that exact same shirt, and we've discussed this shirt before. I think he got it on a visit to the States, I think, at a Target. Okay. He was excited by the branded t-shirts at Target. We've got Kayla, we've got Allison, Cobb. Like it's cool, man. It's cool. Just like it's the clubhouse, right? Super 7 says that all the time about their stores. Like, yeah, it's a clubhouse. Come through, hang out. There's folks showing off their snacks. I think I jumped on right around here again, right. I didn't jump on, but I was chatting.
You were in the chat again.
Yeah. Before I was like, yeah, man, y'all got to go to sleep. But so this is 7:58. I'm going to see. Let's see who the true stragglers are. Who made it till the end? Who are the people who are there who don't help you clean up before you end the party? No, that's cool, man.
This is pretty much the end crew right there. Yeah.
So 8 o'clock. What time was that?
The 8-hour mark.
Yeah.
God, that had to be like close to like 4, maybe 5. And then I know we were in the back room talking for like it was after 6 a.m. in the morning by the time I finally went to bed last night. Sun was coming up again.
And not to out you, but you are still wearing the same clothes. But
dude, I ain't gonna try to hide or admit it. I slept until afternoon today, and even then I was still up and catching people's live streams. I try to keep up with as many as I can. As a matter of fact, I was gonna lay down, take a nap, and get changed before jumping on here tonight.
Yeah.
And I put on Mega J, seeing what he was talking about, and he was like, Oz, why don't you jump on? And I heard the call to arms, and I said, I must go. And so
that's awesome.
That's what I do.
I think I made the declaration that anyone who doesn't like Prince needs to be drowned in the waters of Lake Minnetonka. Yes. Yes, one of my favorite lines from that film. He was on twice, and hence the costume change. Skelly, this thing is amazing. I sort of showed it. There is a floppy disk drive in this guy's head that says people, what is it? People to delete. So you got your little, for those of you old enough to know what this is, in the back of his head, you stick in your disc, you load it up, you hear that thing spin. And this thing's amazing. Not the most highly articulated thing in the world. But it had articulation points. Yeah. We'll talk more about that another time. But man, I appreciate your approach to streaming and just in general, man. I really appreciate the sort of like just the positive vibe that you've always sort of held down and super inviting all the time, always like super giving, trying to like, give people, a shot, come on through, come on my channel and
That's
get some
right.
practice streaming. And, like I said before, you help me do that, and you give Bud a space to not share his cookies. Yeah,
He
I
wasn't
mean,
trying to share at all.
I feel like you gave so many of us space to kind of hang out with her, and me, Thanos, Cobb, just like it's been really cool. So, and I'm happy that it hasn't been a consistent sausage fest lately. Like we've had
Yeah.
folks across the sex and gender spectrum on the show. It's just cool to have a bunch of different people on. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that about you and your approach to things, man.
That's
So
what I try to do, man. Everybody's welcome. It's a safe space to just come hang out, enjoy yourselves, enjoy these toys. And even for those who may not be willing to do a face reveal, like you do not have to have your camera on the live
yeah.
stream, folks.
Yep.
You can join in and just chit chat if you want.
Yep. You have said that a number of times, and it's been great. So actually, to end, that's what's up. Allow me to take a moment. Hey, look, there's us. To do a little bit of housekeeping when it comes to the channel, because as folks know, it's hilarious. So first off, there was an AWOC talk coming this week. It's finally done. And, you guys were making fun of me. I told you I need to edit. And you guys were like, when are you not editing? And as
You were
I
good.
shared,
You were good last night.
I am always editing, but for the last month and a half, it's because I've been editing this one video. And that latest episode of AWOC Talk is going to show up this Wednesday. Was going to do it. Could have been today, could have been tomorrow, but just so that we can actually both be on, both Adam from Highly Articulated and I can actually be on during the premiere. We're going to premiere that on Wednesday. I'm sharing that because there's a point in that. This was about a month and a half ago, I think, where I said, hey, Adam, I don't really celebrate the milestones enough, but I just hit 350 or whatever it was. And so I was like, yeah, that's how long it took me to edit. Because a little bit over a week ago now, I hit 500 over here on Brick Something. And I want to appreciate everybody in this chat right now, folks who have been on the channel, maybe folks watching the replay in the future. Thank you for coming through to Brick Something. This is something that I started. I joke around about my toy life crisis, but I started this on my birthday in 2022, August 14th. So a little bit after my birthday, so what, like a year and about a month into it, I hit 500 subs, which is fantastic. And it's been a fun experiment. That's all this is, man. It's just it's a fun thing to do. It's a fun little corner that I get to like curate, right, and kind of share my love for action figures, other nerdy things like TV shows, Lego, whatever it is. Do shows with you, get on live streams, right? And so far, it's been fun, man. We do this thing which started, I think this is like the 5th weekly or maybe 4th weekly version of the news that I've been doing, and that's kind of become a thing now on Sundays. Occasionally I'll do special ones. You and Eldor were here for a special one. So
Yep.
All that to say, I'm kind of looking to celebrate. And in the community panel or community tab or whatever, I think a lot of people don't even realize these things exist. I mentioned that I'm doing a giveaway. I'm going to be doing a series of giveaways, and the first 5 giveaways, one for every 100, are going to be coming up, and I'm going to space them out just so that I, have a little bit of time and can kind of properly let people know about it. I'm going to be giving away a 2021 SDCC exclusive in this cute box, Scare Glow. I know these may not be your thing, but just, have stuff that I want to share and give away. Mythic Legions, All Stars Vitus figure,
Right.
mint in, what is it? Mint with card? No, yeah, mint in box. And I know people, they've got when it comes to Funko Pops, but
Hey,
I
it's
love these
somebody's
things.
yum, so
Yeah, and it's He-Man, man. So,
right.
little battle armor He-Man, a little merman. I think these things are super cute. I do wish, not to give anybody ideas, but if they release these exact same designs articulated, I'd be all over them. But that said, I'm also going to give away a Masterverse Ram Man. So there's 5 of these things, and I'll tell you, like I'm looking to give away some other stuff. I just, I think it's fun, and I've been lucky enough to get some awesome things on giveaways. So right now, if you were paying attention to that and you were already a subscriber, so as a thanks to the people who were here before I hit 500, if you'd filled out that form, you got like extra entries. If you filled it in during this week, you get another extra entry. But when I do the live stream giveaway, anyone who's on the stream can just sign in and get one entry. And so you don't have to be present to win if you've got one of these entries from, being here early. I'll hit you up. If I don't hear from you, I'll give it away again. So that's that. I just want to let people know that that is a thing I've mentioned on the community tab, but I haven't really said it in a video yet. So I'm trying to figure out how that all works. So
Adam's comment right.
Adam, highly articulated, making
Highly
some sort of no, which
Yeah,
one? The
killed me.
articulated Funko Pops are plunderlings, right?
That's the way it kind of feels sometimes.
Yeah.
But they're so good.
Again, like I said, I would absolutely love that kind of thing. So anyway, that's what's going on. And I can't say enough. Ooh, I'm at 521 now, which is cool. That's higher than the other day. So thank you. Yeah, I haven't really been doing a good job of sort of celebrating the milestones, but mainly because I didn't want to trip on the numbers, but I'm happy, and Mega J was right. It's like we got to celebrate these things. It's an accomplishment, and so anyway, all that to say, thank you, and thank you again to Oz, because yeah, you got me into the live stream thing and just helped me feel a little bit more comfortable doing this. You introduced me to a bunch of really cool people that are on this chat right now that are consistently on your Saturday nights, and so yeah, man, just super appreciated. Yeah, so look out for those giveaways, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, and the shorts, I will say, thank you, Allison. I appreciate that. As an example, like we learned from each other. I learned this from Allison, actually, because Allison's been doing these dope shorts of her doing her coloring thing. And, I was like, yeah, I'd love to do that with my figures. And that's really all these are. It's just me putting these figures on the table. And shout out to Toy Therapy, to Pains, who helped me paint this thing in the background, or really pushed me to get that backdrop done. And I think that really kind of just pushed me on this trajectory to be like, okay, let's do this now. They're just simple turnarounds, but what I love about it is I feel like I'm looking at a dope card back in the late 70s and 80s of my action figures. So anyway, yeah, I appreciate that, Allison. I'm having fun with the shorts, and you definitely inspired me with that. All right, man. So that's all I really have for the news this week, and I really appreciate you coming back to do this with me, especially on a weekly. So again, I guess logistically, folks, if you missed it and you weren't here in the live when Thanos and I were dropping in the links, I'll be putting those links up in a little bit, and I'll put on the community post when they're up. But that URL again is accessible by this QR code in the bottom right, and it's bit.ly/bricksomethingnews. Ostradamus Toys. If you're not familiar, you need to go subscribe to his channel. All the information is in the description. And why don't you tell us what's going on actually with the channel? You've got a bunch of different things throughout the week. So what's going on?
Yeah. Well, this upcoming week, man, up until now, I've been saying I got news coming out with Brick on Sunday, but that's now. So this upcoming week, of course, we've got Toy Frenzy on Thursday night on Skelevator's channel. If you have not already checked that out, make sure you head on over there, give it a like and subscribe. You can catch me there every Thursday for the most part. Occasionally, sometimes I can't make it, but health reasons or whatever. So in any case, though, it's a great show every Thursday night. Then, of course, you will find me each and every Saturday on my own channel. Again, sometimes I miss it, but at this point, I probably hand the keys off to one of my friends, and they'd be able to handle doing the live hangout just fine on their own.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be pretty much each and every Saturday. And then you have no idea really where I'm going to pop up next on YouTube, because honestly, I just appear everywhere. Like
It's
I
true.
said today, Mega J put out the call to arms, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, let me go. I knew I got this coming up, and I'm like, Jay, I gotta roll. I'm supposed to be over on Brick's channel, dude. So
you got to do the
yeah.
math on that. I am curious in the last 24 hours how much you've spent on a live stream. So
Let me go see how long Jay's.
While you're doing that, Legion's class. So obviously there's news, and we got together not too long ago, but that's got to be coming up pretty soon. But that's a thing that you could see over
That's
at Oz's channel. And yeah, I think
that'll
you've
be
got a
coming
lot of
up
cool
real
stuff.
soon. You and I are going to be trying to compile and get together, not to add any more work to your plate, Brick, but going to try to work on some cliff notes for those of you who may have missed a class or two.
Yeah.
As well as have some more plans that Brick has helped me out with, and just came up with another really cool, awesome idea today for some additional content. So pretty soon you guys are going to start getting regular content from me throughout the week. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really, really going to enjoy that as well.
Cool. Yeah, man, let's do it. Let's go check out Ostradamus Toys. Go subscribe right now, and get plugged in, hit that notification so that you don't miss all the cool stuff that he's going to be coming with in the next couple of months. And thank you again for supporting Brick Something. I think for the most part, that's all I got, dude. Yeah,
that should be about it. If you include Toy Friend, Mega J, my stream, and this, I have roughly streamed for at least 16 of the last 72 hours.
And I'm assuming that's well more than what is usual. But yeah, that's intense, man. And good on you, because you work hard, and I hope that folks start to do a little bit more jumping over there and checking all the cool things that you've got coming on. So
I appreciate that, Brick. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you. So thank you to everybody who's in the chat who joined us live today. Again, if you're catching this on the replay, you can use that QR code in the bottom right to access a document that'll give you all the links to everything that we covered today. And there's also all the info there for my co-host. So check that out. What do I got going on this week? Wednesday will be a new episode of AWOC Talk, the long-awaited month and a half edited tiny segment of issue number 4 will be covered in that. We just interviewed Utama, who is the artist behind Animal Warriors, a lot of Animal Warriors of the Kingdom character designs and the comic book. It's a fantastic conversation. I think I'm going to break that up into 2 episodes. So it's me, Adam from Highly Articulated, and Utama, just talking about everything, talking about AWOC, talking about his art, talking about his own creation. So that's super exciting. Shorts come pretty much every day. I usually take 1 or 2 days off where I don't upload something. And I think I need to do an unbox something video soon of these weird toys, because they're dope. So look for that on the channel. All right, folks, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Unfortunately, that's done, and we're back to work for those of us that have the normal schedule. But I hope you enjoyed a little slice of toy nerdy goodness with me and Oz today. OzBrick in the house, and we will catch you probably again Saturday night. We'll hang out at your place. Sound good?
Sounds like a plan, brother. Bring your sleeping bags. We're doing a sleepover. We'll have a pajama party with cereal.
Perfect. All right, folks. Have a great week. Peace, power, all the good things in life. OzBrick.